The tech bros are trying to take away your humanity, but you're not a machine. Let's talk about what it means to live like a human in this high-tech world. This is Analogish, and I'm your host, Becky Mollenkamp. Hi, welcome back to Analogish. This week, I'm joined by Brandon Drake, who is a relationship-driven CRM consultant committed to using technology to strengthen human connection in the digital age, which is exactly why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think that we have to find that balance between tech and humanity. And sometimes tech can help us be more human, or it can take away from our humanity. And you are such a great example of what it looks like to really focus on relationship networking. So I'm excited to have you here, Brandon. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I can't wait to get it started and have the conversation flow.
Well, fantastic. Let's start out just talking about networking, because I think for some people, when they hear that word, they immediately feel, "Ugh," right? It brings up used car salesman. It makes them think of Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if anybody does that anymore, or BNIs, or like those spaces that are just, here's my business card, get me business kind of feeling. So when we talk about relationship driven networking, I would like to hear what that means to you and how that's different than maybe what some people think of when they have that icky reaction to networking.
Yeah, I mean the common icky reaction is what I had too as well, like 7, 8 years ago, where I said to myself, "What's the purpose of networking? I don't understand it. Like you're just talking to each other, and like is there business could come out of it? I don't get it. Like there's no point in that." But then when I started networking with the right people, I realized the value that it offers both parties if they're into truly having a mutual partnership. So to me, based on my experience and learning from others that were doing it right, I learned that proper networking is really both parties truly taking the time to get to know each other's businesses, and then from there fostering their relationship, and as they get to know each other better, seeing how we could mutually support one another's growth. That to me is the right way to network. And there's many different ways to do it. I just happen to do it in a certain way where I'm mixing technology and CRMs with relationship building. You know, I give credit to all the people that I was around, and also to one of the books that I read. That's a really good book. It's called The Go Giver. That book and the people that are in my network set the tone for how to do networking the right way. And that kind of influenced me on how I was going to build out my CRM for the networking piece of my business. And because of that, like, yeah, people remember me. I remember them because I have a system in place and a framework in place to provide value. And in return, those people, those good people on my network will reciprocate and give me good value in terms of good connections. And then therefore we're contributing to having a mutual partnership where both parties are contributing to each other's growth. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about your system a lot here in a little bit. Before we get to all that, though, I just want to talk a little bit more about this idea of like differentiating extractive transactional networking from relationship networking. And you just mentioned reciprocal, and that feels like it's a big piece of that, and that go giver versus go getter mentality. So talk a little bit about that part, if you could, about reciprocity and what that means to you and how that is different than the traditional sort of corporate approach to networking.
Yeah, like usually that corporate approach is what can I get out of this person? I mean, that's pretty much the motto. Like, what can I get out of this person? More compare versus how can we both like support each other? Um, it's a huge shift because like in corporate, like I quit my corporate job because I just didn't feel aligned. I didn't know at the time. I wasn't like fully aware. I just know I didn't like it. But now that I look back, you know, whenever we've networked with people in our cross departmental like communications, it was all about I'm talking to you because I need something from you. And that's the only reason why I'm talking to you. Other than that, like that's it. And so like a lot of people that quit their corporate job, they still have that same mentality and they got to retrain their brain and their strategy to survive in a entrepreneurial world. Like if I mean it could only take you so far if you're just trying to take because more people will recognize that and they won't want to associate themselves with you. They'll remember you, but they'll remember you in a bad way. Like they don't want to do business with you. They don't want to interact with you. So therefore, you're relegated to doing like cold calling or buying leads or whatnot. Nothing anything wrong with that, but like the more sustainable long-term growth method to me is really establishing good relationships where both parties really have the mentality of how can we help each other. And naturally, when we have that mentality, we naturally grow together.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple times the right people, quote unquote. And when you're talking about the right people, I think you could take that two ways. And I have a feeling it's a little of both. So I want to hear what you think. What do you mean by right people? Is it about what they do or who they are?
First, it starts with who they are before you even get into the detail, like the inner working details of what they do. So even I mean, it's the same filtration process or qualification process I do for my prospects and my networking partners. Is I need to find out who they are as a person, what they're all about, and making sure there's some type of value alignment there. And like my most important value alignment, like characteristic trait that I look for is people that are relationship driven because those people that are relationship driven, they already naturally do care about helping other people. And so therefore I naturally care about helping other people. So therefore it's gonna be a good relationship where we're gonna help each other. That's probably the definitely the number one thing that I look for as a trait for either a business partner or even a customer. Like they have to be relationship driven because if they're not relationship driven, the opposite. They're very transactional. And I left the corporate world not to be in that environment that's not conducive to my productivity or to my happiness. So therefore, why would I want to do that when I
Yeah.
have the choice to be happy or not be happy?
I mean, I think so many of us corporate refugees can understand that feeling. And yet, like you said, sometimes we end up recreating it for ourselves because we don't know another way.
We
So
don't
I
know
love
any better. Yeah. And we're trained
yeah,
in that way for so long. So
exactly. And I love that you're gonna share more tips to the right, quote unquote, right person, talking about them being transactional or relational and that sort of value set around being more relational is so important. How do you identify that? Because sometimes people talk a good game, but then they aren't really who they were. So this may start to get a little bit into your system, which I want
oh,
to
it definitely
really,
is.
yeah, I know. Okay, so let's hint at it, but I don't want to go. Just give me a little bit of what are some signs for you that somebody is relationship driven, and then we'll explain your system.
Yeah, and I know like I could list some of the red flags too as well with opposite of relationship
Yeah,
driven.
please do.
You can't when you have an initial meeting with me with yeah when we have an initial meeting, we're all qualifying each other, we're getting to know each other, and we're determining whether we want you to be in our network or not. I mean, it applies to our personal life too as well when we talk to people. So when I see that if somebody is, I could kind of tell that okay, the one question that I ask is who are your strategic partners? And then I go ahead and define it. And when they answer the question, they didn't listen to my definition. So I say strategic partners are basically professionals that don't do what you do, but we serve a common target audience. And if you guys get to know each other better, you'll be able to refer each other's client bases to one another. Okay. So that person, I tell them that definition. And then they go straight into who their target audience is. And I say, okay, that's a red flag. Like they're it's like they're brainwashed to say who are they gonna sell like right away. So that's already a red flag. And then for some people, I'll stop them. Well, all people I stop them and say, hey, that's not. I'm not talking about target audience. I'm talking about your strategic partners. And some people will say, well, some people it's a either a bigger red flag of say, no, I'm really looking for my target audience, and that's already a big red flag. I'm already know that you're not a fit. You're just in it for yourself. You're in it with what you get out of me and you don't care about mutual partnership. That's a red flag to me. And then some people are really nice, like, oh yeah, sorry, I was so caught up in talking about my target audience. Well, that's a good question. Some people are like, I want to think about that more. And those, it's not like I'm gonna dismiss them. Those are good people because they made a mistake, they admitted to it, and therefore that's fine. Like we could correct that and we could get better. And I'm training them to be better anyway. So like those are green flags. Like I like those people, like, or they already know the answer to the question, so I don't even have to care. I mean, I don't have to like correct them or whatnot. So the latter two people are good people, where either those people are willing to learn or those people already know the answers to the question. The people that
Yeah.
don't want to do any strategic partnerships, they're already in it for themselves. That's a sign that they're just looking for a target audience. They're trying to get something out of you, and then that's it. Yeah, we all want to get something out of each other, but like when you just lead with that right away, it's like, yeah, they're not a fit. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I think it's important to think about those networking calls as a qualifying. We do it with prospects, right? Where we're qualifying them
Yeah.
and trying to decide is this lead somebody that would be a great lead. But to think about that when you're networking as well, because you want in your corner people who share your value set, share your approach. And if you're not asking the right kinds of questions or thinking about what those questions would be, you may end up with people that you later think, "Oh, these people they're never helpful. They're never trying to reciprocate when I ask for help or whatever." So I love that.
Yeah,
But
and another red flag is when they start talking about all of the different accomplishments. I've done this, I've done that. I was like, nobody, like when you go to a networking event, nobody cares about all your compliments and all your whatever acronyms are in front of your name or whatever. Nobody cares about that. Like They care about you just being a regular human being that could connect with other human beings, and then from there, they'll learn more about your accomplishments. To me, that's the order of operations of things in order to create good connections with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah,
obviously share the same sentimentality, which is why I wanted you here and why I've loved getting to know you more. You this will go into some of the what does reciprocity look like
yeah.
and maybe some of the system too, because you're really great at making introductions and sharing your network. And I try to do the same and maybe not as the same ways, but in other ways. But that's one form of reciprocity, right? Is introductions, is helping people meet other people. What do you when you think about reciprocity, because we might as well get into your system. So your system gives like you have this really amazing system, a CRM that I think it's probably custom that you have thousands of people in. You can tell us all about that. And when you meet with Brandon, you get basically a file, a digital file that's your footprint in his world where you can there's sort of just behind the scene machinations that allow you to earn points or take away points based on some of these reciprocity things, which all can sound a little transactional or weird, I guess. But it's really about helping you best judge who are the people in your network who really are relational, who really are showing up. And one of those ways is through introductions and things like that. But what are some of the things that, speaking of green flags, that are earning people points or earning people in really what it's about is like telling you these are people who are going to be reciprocal. Like, what does that look like, both in what they do, but then also in what you're doing?
Yeah, so it's like I've gamified networking in a way within the CRM that awards people points based on truly how engaging they are, which is a measurement of like how likely are they to be a really good mutual partner. So I'm just basically using numbers to identify that. There is my judgment based on measuring engagement and giving them points based on the human and based on the system. So it's mainly a holistic score. So when I'm talking to somebody and I'm getting to know them, I have certain descriptors associated with people like community oriented, genuine, friendly, good listener, networking savvy, tech savvy. All these, I have a set of keywords that I use to describe people, and those keywords are associated with positive and negative points. So if I said this person, if I put a tag called salesy, negative points. Why would I want to introduce another salesy person to my network? So they get negative points. And all these descriptors have of people of using my interpretation of talking to them over time that's grading them. So my keywords are giving them positive, negative points. But also too, not only is it my judgment, but even if I were to get done talking to them, their interaction with me via email responses, giving me referrals. All that stuff is being measured by the CRM. So they open up an email, they reply to an email, they subscribe, they unsubscribe, all they fill out a form, a survey, all those activities associated positive, negative points. So over time, as they continue on with this relationship with somebody, I'll be able to see how truly good of a networking partner they are by me looking at their engagement score. And it's not like bias because the data doesn't lie. The system is actually measuring people based on how engaging they are. And also, too, I'm using my own human intuition to grade people as well. So now you get a holistic score associated with you. So, like, I expect, like, people like you and people that I really like, their score is naturally going to go up because you already understand networking and because you're going to naturally interact with me. So, therefore, like, I'm going to see you at the top of the score list and I'm going to make sure to engage with you because your score is basically a interpretation of how like truly engaging there you are. So, therefore, I'm going to return that energy and reciprocate to make sure I give back to you as well, therefore creating a mutual partnership. So it shows up in the score and I'm able to make data informed decisions over who to focus my advertising.
You have how many people are in your system?
So I reached a milestone, and here's the thing: I do not care about numbers. Oh, like I do. Actually, sorry, I'm a data person. I don't care about like the quant. I care more about quality than quantity. But I'm happening to reach a quantity area now. So I actually reached a milestone. I'm at over 7,000 people on my CRM database, but it's customers, prospects, and business partners, and everybody's getting scored. And that's what I'm happy about. Like I can now make better data informed decisions for my clients who ask me questions or my networking partners who ask me, hey, do you know somebody that's so and so? I can search my database based on their filters, and then I organize it by engagement score. And I'm going to reward another good networking partner with a person that has a high engagement score because I know that person is already active, so they're going to be active together. So it's most likely that they're going to have a connection. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but at least you're guaranteed to meet with a person that's going to be engaging.
If you have 100 people, you can do some of the mathematics in your
Yeah,
head because
yeah.
you know, like, oh yeah, I've talked to them quite a bit, or I rarely hear from them, or whatever. But when you, like many of us who've been in a career for a longer time, and or you're just a really active networker and you enjoy meeting people, it doesn't take that long to rack up hundreds and even thousands of people that you
Yeah.
know. I mean, my LinkedIn has like almost 4,000 people, right? And where LinkedIn, I think for many people fails is exactly what you're talking about. It's like I can have 4,000 people on there, but it's like 4,000 names. And trying to make sense of all of that is really challenging. And I think that's why it really falls short for a lot of people as a really good networking tool because you're just like, I don't even remember who some of these people are at this point. It's not useful data. And what you're talking about is how do I then, when I start to amass a larger network, how do I make sense of that data? How do I remember who I most wanted to talk to or how I knew them? Or, again, even more than that, because I think most CRMs will at least give you this is kind of how we met, this is how long we've known each other, whatever. But you're adding in this additional depth that gets to the relationship piece of how well do I know them? How well do we connect? How well do we vibe? How likely are they to bring some reciprocity to this relationship? And I think that's so clever, so important, and what's missing with many tools that are out there. And so, because we're talking about on this show kind of balancing tech and humanity, would love to hear a little bit from you about that component of why you're bringing all this tech to this solution, because I think it's kind of getting to that piece of how can I use tech to actually create better relationships, because very often we think tech is ruining relationships, and you're sort of trying to think
Yeah.
of the question, how do I make it help relationships?
Yeah, the overuse of tech, yeah, is definitely ruining relationships, and then all the commercials that come out, automation. Oh, well, I'll get to it. AI, everybody's talking AI, 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 this, AI, that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's great use cases to use AI, but you want to balance the human connection and AI and or other technology. Some people that know how to do it the right way. There's some people that just overuse technology to the point of like losing the human connection. For example, I did a workshop with an AI crowd, and I talked about my process of networking, and one person, it kind of annoyed me, but I was stayed professional about it. This person was like, "Well, why can't you just AI that?" And I was like, "Oh my god." I said to myself, like, I basically said to this person, "Well, the thing is, if I AI everything, it's going to be cold, and usually most people are going to recognize that, and therefore they're going to be turned off, and therefore that connection is going to be lost. So I'm losing business. So that's why I don't AI everything, because there needs to be a balance of things." And so back to the question, like how, you say, how do I balance it? Is that the main
Sort
question?
of how are you when you think about technology and that argument that it sort of ruins
Yes.
relationships, how for you
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually strengthening or helping you
Yeah.
foster
Yeah.
better relationships?
Yeah, the way I think of technology is using technology in the right way allows you to have more time to be a human being and to have more human connection. So, like, if you have AI automations doing certain things that you don't have to do all the time, they're repeatable processes or AI or automations that do that, that's fine. Now it frees up for you to have more time for you to be a responsible human being to nurture those relationships with all the people in your network so that you could differentiate yourself in your business. That's what's great about technology. Technology allows you to get rid of all the manual procedures and it'll let it do its thing. And now you have more time to foster relationships with your customers, prospects, business partners. And that engagement time that you have is going to differentiate yourself from everybody else that's doing the same thing as you. So if you're able to use technology smart, it's a big differentiator because now people will remember you because you're fostering those relationships. And then for me, like, yeah, automate my nurturing my nurturing workflow with people, like get in touch with them every like 60 or so days, but it's automated. And people understand that. They understand that I can't send a personalized email all the time. But when in that email, it says in the email, the two call to actions are usually, if you want to get to know me better, here, book a reconnection call so we get to know each other better. That's where the human comes into play. Or the other option is that's okay if you don't have any time, it's not a big deal. But if you need to update your bio, click here so that when you update your bio, I'll get notified via email and then the human comes into play and I'll read your bio and see who I can connect you with. So that's like an example of like using technology mixed in with the human touch because it's automated. And then when people respond or they book a meeting or they update their bio, that's when I come to play and be acting like a human being. And then they see that I made the connection, I had a meeting with them, or I reply to their email too as well. That's when the human comes into play. So that's like to me a delicate balance of using technology and automation and the human connection that differentiates myself in the business.
Go to the setting up of your system in a second. Before that, let's talk about the human piece. Now that it's set up, it's in place, things are automated, it works, right? Now that that's there, what does your time look like when you think about networking? How much of your time is maintenance of that system and messing with technology versus getting on phone calls, introducing people, things like that? Like, what does
Yeah.
your networking system look like?
Yeah, so for the first few years, I was always refining it just to make improvements to be more an efficient person so I have more free time to be human. But now, like, it's pretty much, it's pretty much on the system is built now where doesn't really need to be any modifications to be made. I could take a break from that. And now, because of that, now I have a lot more time to do meetings with people like my prospects, my customers, my returning business partners, because prospects, customers, business partners, yeah, they're all top priority connections. Like, yeah, and we're all in business. Like, our customers come first, our prospects come second, and then our returning networking partners come third. That's how I prioritize it. And my new networking partners, I'm sorry, but they have to be at the bottom just because, like, I need to make a living. I would love to talk to everybody all the time. What I have to worry about making a living, but I have to
Damn
make a
capitalism.
yeah, we have to prioritize accordingly. That's allowed me to free up my time. And because I have more free time, now I have more time to have meetings and I have more time to showcase my authentic self. And by me showcasing my authentic self, now I have more time to generate business. Because with that more time, I'm either fostering relationships with my existing customers, my existing networking partners, or getting to know my prospects better, or having more time to prepare for speaking engagements, whether it's an in-person event where I'm giving a workshop or a virtual event where I'm giving a workshop or just doing a podcast. Like, I have more time to showcase my, bio individuality.
What does your work look like when it comes to CRM, setting it up, managing, customizing it, and how did you bring that into what you've built here? Because what you built is not just a off the shelf system.
Yeah, yeah. So I have 4 CRMs in my tool belt that I know very well. And I wanted to have multiple options because I want to give people multiple options and not a one size fits all solution, because I don't believe in one size fits all anything, health or technology or whatever it may be. And so when I know that somebody needs my help, I always give a free CRM consultation with the goal is to understand their business and their budget. That's the most important thing. And then from there, I'll make a recommendation for a CRM if they're looking for one, because a lot of times they do ask for a recommendation. So if I know that they're a good fit for one of my solutions, I'll let them know and I'll let them know why. And if they're not, then I actually refer out to my networking partners that specialize in different CRMs, because the people on my network understand that we can't solve every problem and not everybody is a fit for the solution that we offer. And if we know that the person who's our prospect is not a fit, we refer out. It's just good business. You're not going to sell a solution to somebody that where it's not truly a right fit, and I don't believe in doing that because that's just bad business. And then I always tell people, like, my criteria for, or I guess, showcasing my integrity. Like, the CRMs are in my tool belt only along with my values in terms of the customer service levels. So if they have bad customer service where it's literally impossible to get in touch with a human being and there's no good human support, I'm not even going to look at that CRM. Now, if they have good human support, I'm definitely gonna look further into it, because customer service is the foundation of a good business. And if they don't do something called stair step pricing, they're a good fit. So things that a stair step pricing model does is they nickel and dime you as you grow. So for example, if you grow your contact list beyond a certain amount, they charge more money. If you add staff members into your CRM, they charge you per user per month. If you need additional features, they make you upgrade to a more expensive package. And sometimes that expensive package, the price per user per month also goes up. So it gets really expensive. So companies like, Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, Pipedrive, Monday.com are just examples of CRM that do that. And I don't want to support those CRMs because I don't want to refer a client to a CRM that's going to nickel and dime them as they grow. And then that client looks at me and is like, why did you refer that CRM to me like 3 years later? I'm paying like an arm and a leg right now. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Because the CRM is the kind of thing that once you're in it, it
Hard to
becomes
leave.
like the farther you're into it, the more custom it's become, the more it's working for you, the harder it is to switch. So I love that
Yeah.
you're thinking that way.
Yeah, and I've helped people switch too as well, because I know how to do that migration process too as well. But I want to catch people early so that they could really take in consideration their long-term growth plans. If they do plan to grow and do plan to grow the staff member list or whatnot, then I tell them these aren't CRMs you should be looking at, unless you don't mind paying an arm and a leg. I mean,
Who are
that's a
those
you
people?
decision.
Not me. And who are the kinds of people you work with?
Yeah, so I've been in business for about 7 years, and I was focusing only on a certain niche, and then my niche got wider and bigger, and it came down to only service-based businesses. And I realized that it's a personality and a value alignment that really matters, that I really look at. So it's back to relationships. Like if they're relationship driven, if they understand the importance of building relationships in their business, then or it's at the forefront of their business, then they're definitely going to be a good fit, because that's what a CRM is supposed to do if you're going to build it correctly. It's supposed to nurture your relationships with all your business contacts so that you create opportunities for yourself and for other people. So if they understand that, it doesn't matter what industry they're in, as long as they're service based, and they're a good fit, because the CRM could be a good fit for them. And if there's value alignment, I'm going to have fun working with them because we value the relationship building piece. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with multiple industries. They've been like marketing agencies, web design, web development agencies, nonprofit organizations, travel agencies, business coaches, consultants, fractionals, health practitioners, and a lot of speaking, like keynote speaker type people or whatnot. That's who I've worked with so far. But I've added those industries because I realized that when I talked to that person who was a referral, oh yeah, they're a good person. They align with my values, and therefore I just added new industries to what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate because I think the heart of what we're talking about here is that relationship piece, which is very much who you are, even more than what you do. And I feel the same way. And so it makes total sense. I want to wrap things up talking about, as somebody who has 7,000 people plus in their system, you have had a lot of meetings. You've met with a lot of people. You do a ton of networking. What do you notice about what people like do wrong, where things go wrong?
In the the whole networking
Yeah.
process.
Like, what are your pet peeves? You've mentioned a few red flags, but just like, what are the things for people who are listening who are like, I want to do better at networking? Maybe you're newer to it or still have those icky feelings. Like, what are the things you see? You can tell me both sides of it. The things you see people do really well, and the things that you still see happening a lot that you're like, why are we networking like this in 2026?
Yeah, when the biggest pet peeve is when people they don't respect boundaries. The biggest pet peeve is when they don't respect time boundaries. Oh my god, that just really gets to me. Like I give them my calendar, and they look at my calendar, and my next availability is not for like a month or 2 months, and they're like, "Hey, could I meet you like next week?" And I'm just I just laugh and be like, "You see my calendar, right?" Like I have to take care of my responsibilities that I have with meetings with my clients, my prospects, and my returning networking partners. Like you have to wait in line. Like I don't I see those people as a line cutter. Like I just want to cut in line, and like no, like you gotta respect everybody else's time. Like I respect my all the people that have booked a meeting with me, I respect their time, and I'm not gonna have somebody else cut in line just so that you can meet me sooner. That really is. I mean, that's usually a red flag, and I don't really pursue the having a meeting with them, because if they're gonna be like that, then I don't want them to be like that to my networking partners. And all my networking partners are really good at respecting time boundaries.
Yeah. Are there things that when it happens in a call that it's like, oh, that's a green flag? Maybe things that we wouldn't think of?
A green flag. A green flag is when they beat me to the when they beat me to all the good questions. Like I had a actually today, the guy was like, "Yeah, I want to know who I could connect you with. Like who are good people that could refer you business." And I'm like, I was like, man, I usually am the first one to get that question off, but hey, I already know this person's already. I'm already good with this person already. I already know they're a green light from the jump. So if they're already like being like very inquisitive before I could actually shoot off any of my questions, that is a huge green light.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good
yeah,
to
because
know.
they're already trying to give before they even take, so that's already, like, a good sign. Like, usually, I find myself, like, 70% of the time always asking questions about them, so I could extract that information about them, so I could provide them value, so when people beat me to the punch, I already know it's gonna be a match made in heaven. Like, because 'cause they're already asking, and they're already seeing how they could support one another. I'm like, "Oh, green light for sure." Yeah.
Well, and I've had the benefit of meeting you and having a call with you, getting follow-ups emails now for a while because I've met you maybe 6 months ago or something like that. So I've had a couple of those follow-ups and some introductions that you've made, which have now led to layers deep of more
Yeah.
introductions and really great fit kind of people. And you've really inspired me. I mean, you have inspired me. I am yet to take full action on my inspiration, but I plan to around systematizing because I'm doing a lot more networking and I have not always been great at developing a system. And I know what happens when you don't have a system to support the behavior. People fall through the cracks. You lose touch. People you meant to stay in touch with, you don't. You forget about people. And then you're like me, the person going, oh, I know somebody who does that, but I can't think
Yeah.
of who it is, all
It's
of
not
that.
like you're a bad person, it's just naturally human, you can't.
Well, right, and so for people who are, like, "Oh, I don't wanna have to use so much technology, I don't wanna rely on technology." I think one of the reasons I really wanted to make sure I had you in this series is because you are to me a real example of what it looks like to say the technology is the tool that allows you to show up the way you want to show up, not
Yeah.
relying on the technology. It's not about the technology, but it's because we have access to that tool that we are able to show up the way we want to show up as humans. And I just think that's really important because too often the technology is sort of reducing how we show up as people, it feels like. And this is one of those rare cases where I've seen it in action. I've seen because you have these systems in place that allows you to show up in a way that's very memorable, right? I mean, it really does make you stand out. Is there
Yeah.
anything else
I
about
don't have
that?
to stress about anything because I know, like, my system is handling it, and now I'm stress-free, and I can have fun conversations with people I like and trust, and I could have more of those conversations, which makes me happier. That's why I'm happy with technology, especially used in the right way with the right strategy. It gives me more time to engage with the people that I wanna continually foster relationships with, and that's what brings me joy. I mean, yeah, it's just a tool to give you more time. And I like having more time. I like having more time with the people that I want to talk to.
I mean, it makes sense and it's great. And yet, too often we either leave it to chance or rely on our brains or think like, oh, I don't want to deal with the tool, the technology for all of that. And you miss out. Like you've made me see like I'm missing out. And so I have been slowly starting to try and create some better systems for myself. It's certainly not gamified. It's not the level of yours. Maybe I'll get there. But
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great starting point. And just
It's a
even
great starting
having
point. You recognize it and you're working towards it, and that's what counts.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
thank you for inspiring me. Hopefully you inspire others. What do you wanna
yeah.
leave us with? Like, what if people were gonna do one thing this week related to what we've talked about, what would be the one thing you'd want people to, like, take action on?
I would say the based on the book I read, The Go Giver, lead with a go giver mentality. Like just naturally give to people that align with your values, obviously, because there are some we all make mistakes. We give to some people that aren't aren't really worthy, and that's okay. Like, we all make mistakes as a human thing, but, like, when you give to those good people and you really listen to them, ask a lot of inquisitive questions to find out how you can support them, those good people will remember you, and that's a business strategy. And because they remember you, down the line, those people will reciprocate, and therefore it's going to contribute to growing your business and their business, therefore creating an environment where everybody's winning. Like, that's what we want in our business. We want to create a winning environment for all the people that come into our network. So yeah, or just go read the Go Giver.
I will link to that in the show notes for people who are interested. I'm gonna check it
Yeah,
out for people who are interested in
yeah, it's a
checking
really
it out.
good book. It's a
Yeah,
page turn. I think it's only like 100, less, probably 100-ish pages or whatnot. But it's a very good lessons to learn for giving and networking. Yeah,
I love it. Well, I'll link to
yeah,
that show notes as well as how to get a hold of Brandon and where to find Brandon to connect. If you're lucky enough to get on a coffee chat with Brandon, it's worth your time. And if you want to build out a system like this, then Brandon's the guy to do it. So thank you so much for doing this, Brandon. I really appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Continued success for you too as well.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Analogish. This episode is over, but the world is still out there. Go find it.